This is Gary Geiman with the Dominate the Day podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to help you get 1% better in your business, provide clarity, and give you some ideas that will help you grow your business. If you're ready to dominate the day, let's go.
Dominate the day, that's what we're about to do. If you don't want to dominate, then this podcast ain't for you. But if you are, then keep listening, cause every single damn day, the mission is to dominate. You already know we're here to dominate the day. So if you want to dominate every day, then let's go, it's time to grow. This is another episode of Dominate the Day.
As we get to listen to your story, I mean, I knew some of it, didn't know all of it. And I can only imagine that you left out a lot of details that could be either gut-wrenching or, you know, things that maybe not everybody needs to worry about or listen to that you had to deal with. But it all created or helped to create the individual that you are today, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean, I've spent my entire adult life in the Marine Corps, some form or fashion, active duty reserve. You know,
primarily in leadership positions too, right?
Primarily in leadership. Well, yeah, especially in reserves. I came in, almost picked up sergeant immediately, and then I've been in a leadership position all the way up. Even, you know, Lance Corporals as an E3 carrying out the trash, even if there's two of them, somebody's got to be in charge. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's instilled in us early on is if there's two of you carrying the trash out, somebody's got to be in charge. So you've got one other person, you've got 3 people, you've got 13 people, you got 42 people, you got 300 people. You have to manage your people.
Yeah. And when you say that, like, and you know, I've talked about this, like you said you have to manage your people, but you're managing them to be successful.
Absolutely. You're
and what it is they're doing.
You're guiding them to achieve a common goal,
right,
whatever that mission is. You know what I mean? If it's getting the garbage can to the dumpster, you know, you and Lance Corporal Humpty Frats, we're going to get that over there. Or it's 300 and your mission is to pre-deploy, deploy, post-deploy, all weapons, all gear, all people, you know, no loss. You know, mission successful. That's the ultimate goal. So it's mission accomplished. My leadership philosophies have always been, and there's a lot longer list than what I'm going to tell you, but my 2 top are mission accomplishment and troop welfare. You can't accomplish the mission unless you take care of your people. And if you don't take care of your people, they're not going to accomplish a mission. So there's the only 2 that I focused on. All the others were, you know, they came in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, but it was always mission accomplishment and troop welfare because they're the top 2, and they're the top 2 for a reason.
And that can play out in business, in life, in relationships.
Yes.
Military, like not just military.
No.
And that's like, I deal with business people on a daily basis. And one of their biggest, you know, they have different stages of their business. You know, as their start. And then the next kind of angst is when they start to add people. And they don't understand, or they have a hard time grasping that when they bring people into their organization, that they now become responsible for their success. And you call it troop welfare, right?
Yep.
Taking care of your people so that you can accomplish the mission.
You're developing. So yeah, you bring them in, and I'm gonna look at this at a platoon level, right? But a platoon is 42 guys. You've got 4 squad leaders per squad. You've got 3 fire team leaders. You bring a new kid in to that platoon, he's getting assigned to a fire team. That fire team leader is now responsible for him. The squad leader is responsible for that, or the fire team leader is responsible to the squad leader for that new team member's welfare. The squad leader is responsible to the platoon sergeant. Platoon sergeant is responsible to the platoon commander. Platoon commander is responsible to the company commander. So even though that one person is brought in, there are 42 plus that are affected by how well that young Marine is groomed and welcomed into that unit. Mm-hmm. He is taught how to develop himself personally and professionally. He is held to a standard. The Marine Corps is all about standards. It's not personal. You're either at the standard, below the standard, or above the standard, and then you were taught your job. And then you are trained over and over and over how to do your job better. And you were trained to take the job of the fire team leader, because you always train down. You always train your guys to take your place, because every Marine's a rifleman. So at any time, any one of us could fall.
could be pulled off.
Yep. Any one of us could go down, so somebody's got to step up. So you train them all to do your job.
So the base of the Marine Corps is every Marine is a rifleman. So no matter whatever your job is, you can handle a rifle.
Yep.
You can fill in infantry if necessary, basically. Is that the mindset?
Loose. Very, very loose.
Yeah.
Very loose. I mean, those guys, infantry, God love them, man. Tip of the spear.
They're skilled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not an infantryman. I did very little infantry work, but to see those guys work, man, it is impressive.
So, like you said, very loose. But I like that mindset, though, because in a company, there's multiple jobs that everybody has. You know, take GE for an example, right? There's multiple things that are going on, even in one department. And, you know, and unions will cloud the issue because, you know, if you're in a union, you can't do this if you're this or whatever. But you think about it from a small business perspective, or if you kind of narrow it down to a department, like everyone's a rifleman. Okay, so what is that underlying job in your business, right, that everyone should know how to do? That's
what is the mission?
Yeah, that's kind of the Marine Corps philosophy.
So yeah, the big mission of the Marine Corps, combat.
Yeah.
You know, we're there to make the grass grow.
Yeah.
Right. The tip of that spear is the infantry. You know, that's why every Marine is a rifleman, because we are all, if you're not infantry, you're there in support of the infantry in some form or fashion, right? Because that's where the action, that's where the rubber meets the road.
So if there is a mission, the infantry is always there.
Well, depending on the mission.
Okay.
But the Marine Corps mission is combat, right? We're there to do one thing. We're not a nation building force. We were put in place to do one thing, and we do that very well. Mm-hmm. Every other unit, non-combat, non-infantry, the infantry, the grunts like to call us pogues, but we are all in support of the infantry, right, in some form or fashion. In order to make them successful at their job, we all have to do our job. So you dial that back to whatever your position is. What's the overarching mission, right? Where is my place? What am I there to do? What do I have to do? What is my job to make the big mission successful? And then whatever layers there are in between, you know, all the way down to, I don't know, what have I got to do the next 15 minutes? What are my tasks that I've got to get done to make my boss, or to make this particular thing successful? Get this done to move on to the next thing. To
help to accomplish the overall mission.
Right. So you break it down to smaller missions, all the way down to whatever it is you're doing right now, and then you do that to the best of your ability. Then you do the next thing to the best of your ability. And then the team does whatever they got to do to the best of their ability to get that mission done. And then the squad, the platoon, the company, you all do your thing to make all the way up to, you know, match the big picture of, you know, successfully employing combat.
Yeah. If that was used more often in business, regardless of the size, things could be a lot smoother.
Well, I've never ran a business.
Well, you get ego a lot in business. How's ego dealt with in the military?
You're told to check it at the door, because you will be fucking checked.
Yeah.
Ego carries no place. I'm not gonna, because people in the military, they come from society. Yeah. They check in with their egos. Ego gets you nowhere. Only your performance is going to get you anywhere. An ego is going to get your fucking teeth knocked out.
Right.
Right. You're going to get checked, because everybody's there for the mission. At least you're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. You know, race, color, creed, sexual orientation. None of that shit comes into play. Nobody cares. Right. Marine Corps, you're the green and dark green. We're all there to do one thing. That's it. And notice you got to manage your people. I didn't say personalities, because everybody's personality is different. You go to managing personalities, and I've ran into this because I experimented with it. You go to managing people, it's way easier than managing personalities, because personalities change like the wind.
Right.
You got somebody on a good day, somebody on a bad day, but people are people. You know, you learn what their skill sets are, what they're bringing to the table, how they're going to help you accomplish your mission. You build that up. You get them to drink the Kool-Aid. You're utilizing their strengths.
So let's dive into that a little bit, because that's interesting. So manage the people, not the personality.
Yeah.
Okay, so explain that as deep as you can get. Like, that's a good tangent.
All right. So personalities. You've got people coming from different walks of life. Every different walk of life you can imagine. You have egos. You have introverts. You have extroverts. You have muscle heads. You've got, these little freaking skin hangers. There's just skin and bones. You got everything in between. So, and they all come with their own personality. But if you try and feed the personality, you end up feeding the ego. If you try to manage the personalities, it's a dead-end street, because you don't know what you're going to get from day to day. You have a good day, you have bad days. I have good days and bad days.
Yeah. The proverbial wrong side of the bed crap, basically.
Yeah. Personalities could be, I wanted to be a baseball player. My skills decided that I wasn't going to be a professional baseball player.
Why did you give basketball up so quick?
Well, different show.
Was that skills or height? Which one would you play the basketball card
I think
to?
height got me on the team. Skills kept me in high school. How's that?
So getting back to our personality versus people discussion, which I think is very interesting, because a lot of people, and I say this on a daily basis, a lot of guys go into business because they were good at something, or they lost their job, or whatever the circumstance was. They weren't trained to go into business. They don't know the ins and outs of owning a business, right? One of the biggest things of owning a business is dealing with people, customers, employees, right? Vendors. So it's hard to manage all of those interactions. And you brought up a great point of, you want to manage people, not the personality. So I always, like, if you're in a room and you watch the interactions in the room, to me, if there's conversation being engaged, and let's just say it's a social type thing. It's not business or anything like that. It's just a social type thing. But you watch the individuals in the room. I've always found that the people that are able to just sit back and observe quietly are usually your most confident individuals. And like when they have something to say, it usually is of substance and not just some bullshit to cover the tone. I mean, you think about it, you're in a social situation and somebody's talking and they can't stand any type of silence. That's because their confidence level is lower than others. Now, if we're drinking, that all shits out the room, right?
Yeah, it's all out the window.
That's all. But
yeah, that when people talk about that uncomfortable silence, that's uncomfortable to some. It's not uncomfortable to others.
No, it's empowering to some.
I am usually slow to respond. It drives my wife nuts, right? Because she'll say something, and before I reply, there's usually a pause, and I'm thinking, what am I going to say and how am I going to say it? That works all the time, 100% of the time, because most times people are too fast to speak, and they don't put a lot of thought behind what they're saying.
Right. They
say the wrong thing, or they say it the wrong way. Either the message is off, or the delivery is off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find myself being the opposite. I always pride myself with having quick wit, but there are times when I've had the quick wit that after I say it, like, fuck, I wish I wouldn't have said that.
Well, we all have our moments. I'm not going to say that I misspoke. I'm not always slow to speak.
Dominate the day, that's what we're about to do. If you don't wanna dominate, then this podcast ain't for you. But if you are, then keep listening, cause every single damn day, the mission is to dominate. You already know. We're here to dominate the day. So if you wanna dominate every day, then let's go, it's time to grow. This is another episode of Dominate the Day.